Maybe you could pick one of those topics, like one of those things that people might think happiness is, and show us how you
Oh,
open that up.
sure. Yeah, yeah. There is one very simple example might be the very common idea that happiness lies in wealth. You know, in our day, people are ashamed to admit, well, many people are ashamed, not everybody's ashamed to admit, people are ashamed to admit that they think that happiness lies in wealth, but an awful lot of them are. If I
Because
ask my
all our
students, why
movies, so
did
many
you
of our movies, the message is, oh, happiness doesn't lie in wealth. So it's like a commonly accepted thing in our pop culture that wealth doesn't bring happiness.
that it doesn't bring happiness, and yet people still think that it does. If I ask my students, why did you choose your college major? So often the answer is because I wanted, they don't say because I wanted a profession that I'd be able to make a living for my family and it was interesting, or I thought the work would be worthwhile. They say, well, I thought I'd make a lot of money there and I wanted to pull down the big bucks. Now, in every, you're right that the second of the three parts of the book, the bulk of the book, is going through these rabbit trails that lead to ruin. But you know, in every error, including the idea that happiness lies in wealth, there is some grain of truth. If there weren't, nobody could find the error plausible. In the case of wealth, the grain of truth that makes it plausible at first is that we are embodied beings. We're not just drifting, disembodied intellects. We have bodies, we have material needs. We need to eat, we need to put food on the table, we need shelters over our heads, we need to be able to clothe our children. Sure, we have material needs. Now, does it follow from that that the more material stuff you have, the happier you're going to be, and that if you get enough of it, you're going to be completely happy? It certainly does not. And as a matter of fact, material wealth is one of the things that Aristotle, whom we've mentioned, had in mind when he said good fortune, when it comes in excess, might better be called bad fortune. Think of all the people who've won the lottery and then their lives just go to pieces.
Hmm.
You need virtue to know what to do with wealth, when to stop, when to say, I've got enough. More of it is not going to be good for me. And of course, that same virtue is going to help you when you come into adversity. So, so this, there's one classical answer that used to be given, and I don't think it's enough. Aristotle said, Thomas Aquinas said, a lot of the other classical thinkers have said, you know, if you ask people, do you want wealth for its own sake, or do you want wealth for the sake of something else? And they all say, oh, I want it for the sake of something else. And then the answer comes, well, then it isn't happiness, is it? What that other thing is. But it sort of misses the point because they think that they can buy the things that will make them happy. They still think that even though wealth itself is not happiness, they think it's the key to happiness, or at least they think it's the most important thing. You know, there's that line in the Gospels that seek first the kingdom of God, and all of these other things will be given to you. And people seem to think seek first wealth, and all of these other things will be given to you. But it
Right.
just isn't true. You know, suicide rates are much higher in wealthy, high-status communities than in middle-class communities. They're low among the destitute too. People are hungry, but I mean they're high, excuse me, among the destitute too. But then they dip in the middle class and they go way up again among the wealthy.